Shout out to MA. Thank
Stephanie. Stephanie. But
yeah, okay.
And I basically just feel like I needed to parent. I didn't need no interruption of a third party. I'm mommy, I'm daddy, and that's just what it is.
Right.
That's just what it is. And I need to focus on getting her through her next chapter. I owe that to her. This is the decision that I made to have her. And I think that once she's on to the next level, which is the Air Force, that's what we're gearing towards. My baby graduates next Friday. Just sent her off on her prom the other weekend. So,
What color was her dress? What color was her dress? I gotta know, because I love fashion.
Okay, she had this white, like a mermaid type dress. Oh, man. I couldn't believe it. I cried real tears.
Real tears.
I cried real tears. Yes, I did.
Oh. I'm sure she was gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So she's heading to the Air Force, you said, so she's going to be serving our country, which is amazing. Thank you for raising another person to go serve our country.
Well, thank you.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you've got her on the right track, and that's why I wanted you here, not just because of your unique perspective as a mother in this community, but because you're raising a good kid. And that's all that I wanted on this month were people that were raising stellar, outstanding, contributing citizens to this world. And that's what you've done with your daughter, Red. So my hat's off to you. I really appreciate your contribution. You're sending in a good person.
I wanted to say one more thing.
Certainly.
If I was to do it all over again, I really would. If I knew that the next child would be just like her, I certainly would, because it was well worth it. When I tell you, she gave me the normal amount of problems as a kid would, but she was a good kid overall. When I tell you, let me tell you, my baby is still a good girl. Put her out there, still a good girl. Let me tell you, I just want her to remain a good girl.
Don't make me cry real tears, Red.
I'm proud. I'm just very proud. I'm very proud. I'm proud now. She's a good woman. She's turned to a good young lady.
She's
a good young lady. And she knows God. She knows
God. And that is so important. I think the grounding. Spirituality is huge in my life. I don't care what package you put it in. You've got to have a grounding. And so I respect that as well, that she has a relationship with God and that she knows herself. And she's been allowed under your hand to become the woman that is now going to be going into the Air Force and is graduating and wearing mermaid dresses and making you cry real tears. I just love it.
Yes. Yes.
So thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us today. This has been a fantastic conversation, a fun one that went by almost too quickly to me. And so I will definitely love to have you back on, especially maybe during Pride Month, and we can talk about some more things. I'm sure you have many more things to talk about from our conversation.
You know I do, girl.
I know.
So you know I do.
If anybody would like to get in contact with you or they have questions, and after some of the things you said, I'm sure there's going to be a couple of questions. Is there a way that they can contact you? Now, I'm going to put this on Facebook and link you in, I think, to the Facebook. But is there any way that they can contact you, or would that be the way you would want it to be?
I'm sure they can contact me on the book at Knowledge is the Key. So we're talking knowledge, one word, the key is the other. And, just let me know. I'm an open book.
Now, is that your email or is that on Facebook?
That's on Facebook, and my email is Big Red.
That's okay. If you don't want to give out your email, you don't have to, but if you're comfortable.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Big Red.
Okay.
1978@gmail.com.
All right, that's Big Red 1978@gmail.com. And then on Facebook, Knowledge is the Key on Facebook. And I will be linking the show so that everyone can listen to the show and hear it. And I'm sure that we're going to get a lot of great responses. But thank you so much, Red, for taking your time and sharing your energy and your wisdom with us today and representing your community excellently. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate that. And I hope to see you soon.
All right. Have a great day. Bye.
You do the same.
All right. That was our conversation with Miss Reds. That's Reddz if you're looking for her via the email that she gave at Big Reds. So REDDZ. I am so glad to have had her on because I think that it's so important that we represent all aspects of our community. I'm a big believer in that. It's very important for me. I have a diverse group of friends, and I've had a plethora of interesting experiences in my life, which we'll share as time goes on. But I love what Red said at the end here, is that she's raised a good girl, but she's raised a great woman, a woman that she's sending out into the world to fight for our nation. And I don't think there could be any more respect in my heart for her, for the choices that she's made in regards to her daughter. She, like she said very honestly, it's not always easy. There were times where she gave me some troubles, like all kids do. And I want you to understand that today if you're listening. Parents, mothers, fathers, grandmothers raising kids, my grandfathers raising kids, my hat and heart goes out to you, because I realize that it's an incredible sacrifice you make to send these people out into the world. To sacrifice that when they come into your life, like Red said, maybe the smile makes it all worth it. But still, it's a sacrifice. And it's not an easy job. You don't just have kids and they love you automatically. That love and that bond, that connection is something that you work on, something you build. It's something that you foster day in and day out by letting them know that they can trust you, letting them know that you are reliable, letting them know that you stand firm in your word, letting them know that you're always there. This week, we've been talking about mothers and the diversity of mothers and different mothers and all of that. I wanted to do my star mother quote for the week, and that is going to come from my own mother. Now, I'll tell you a little funny story here. My mother, when I asked her, Mom, I want you to be my star quote for the week. My mother's name is Jeanette, Miss Jeanette. And I said, what would you say about raising kids? And she was really silent for a long time. I'm sitting at my computer, fingers ready to type away the answer. She's not saying anything to me. Okay, Mom, what's going on? And I said, what's your star quote about raising kids? And then I read my mother's mind because, you know, as mothers and daughters, sometimes that happens. Forget about my empathic, intuitive, psychic side. This is just me knowing my mother. I said, okay, tell me what you would say besides, well, I don't know, I didn't raise good kids, because that is my mother. And I said that to her, and she laughed, and the ice broke, and then she gave me the real quote. Now, it's not because she doesn't think she didn't raise good kids. It's because she's very self-critical about mothering. I think that that's something that mothers do. They're often in their heads, aren't we? We're often in our heads. We're often wondering about who we've sent our kids out to be, if we've made the right decisions. And I say we. I am not physically a mother, but I have raised a lot of children in my life. So I understand that feeling of, did I do enough? Did I make the wrong decision? So when I said to my mother, I know you don't think you've raised good kids, but if you could pretend, please tell me what your pretend answer would be. We once went to a photographer, and we were taking a family picture, and the photographer said to my mother, father, my brother, and I, pretend like you like each other. So that's our running family joke. Just pretend like you raise good kids, and we'll go from there. But the quote that she gave me was, being a good parent requires energy, strength, and perseverance, and prayer. That is really the ethos of my mother. Energy, strength, perseverance, and prayer. It's not just what she says you need to be a good parent. It's what she has been. It's what she has modeled. It's what she has done to be an amazing parent. She didn't give up. She didn't raise us to be like the rest of the pack. And at times, like I mentioned with Reds, I did disagree quite vehemently. I am so very grateful for the woman that she raised me to be. My mother's a proud West Indian woman, and she, again, didn't raise me to be like everybody else. A great example, and I'll share a little embarrassing story, because what would a good mom story be without a little bit of embarrassment? A great embarrassing story about when I was in 5th grade. My mother decided that I should wear a uniform. Now, I went to Stanley Switlick Elementary, a beautiful school in the Keys in Marathon, Florida, and no one there wore a uniform because it was a public school. So uniforms were not required. But there I was in a bright pink dress with a cream button-down shirt. That, I might add, was all handmade by many of the women in my family. My mother has 5 or 6 sisters. 5, excuse me. 6 including herself. And it was farmed out. My grandmother made a piece. My Aunt Carol made a piece. My Aunt Kathleen sent material over from Antigua. From the school, the actual material that the school uses in the country my mother grew up in Antigua, that made the uniforms. So that material was sent over. And everybody had their hands in creating 7 to 8 uniforms for me to wear. Now, let me tell you, that was a character building moment. Can we call it that? Being an empath, I could feel and hear the energy of my classmates and my teachers as I would walk by, and some of them would outright vocalize it. Sometimes they'd say, "Oh, pretty in pink today." Sometimes they'd say, "Don't you ever change your clothes?" You can imagine, kids are cruel. That was not an easy experience. But what I know now that I didn't know then, like Reds mentioned, we thank our parents later, is that she was teaching me to stand out. She was teaching me to shine and to be proud of who I am, to embrace who I am, and not to run with the pack. But I didn't know it then. And that year, I got stronger, and I got better at making my hair more creative to accentuate the same outfit that I was wearing daily to a public school. And I got bolder with my accessories. And I will tell you that carries over to me today. I love color. I love a multiplicity of color. I love pattern on pattern. I have never been that big girl that hid her shape under black or gray clothes. Sometimes it's there, but I promise you there's some bling attached to make it be accentuated. And that's because I had to learn how to be creative so that I could differentiate from those daily uniforms. So thank you, Mother, for that important lesson. And she stood her guns, and she did not back down, no matter how many tantrums I threw, no matter how much I told her, "We're in America. I'm American. I'm a first-generation American." She knew nothing about it. "You should be wearing uniforms," she would say with her accent lilting. Very firm. I said what I said. "May not change," she would say. "You put on the uniform. Put them on." And that's what she would say to me. And I would. And it made me a better person. But I didn't know it then. I've been asking mothers about their favorite songs. And this week, my mother didn't have a song. But I didn't even have to ask because I know my mother's favorite poem. And before we go, we might even read right into the intro music. I'm going to read you her favorite poem, The Desperata by Max Ehrman. This poem was all over our house when I was growing up. It was everywhere. And she lived by it. And she said it to me in phrases and parts all throughout my life. And to this day, if I call her, she'll say, "Go placidly amid the noise and haste. And remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons, Monette. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others. Even the dull and the ignorant, they too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are a vexation to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter. For always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself. Especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all disenchantment, it is perennial as the grass. Take kindly to the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of your spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be